world is coming undone. Imperial flags reign across the galaxy.
Can you be trusted without your shackles?
Let's just get this over with, shall we?
We've a mission for you. A major weapons test is imminent. We need to know how to destroy it.
If you're really doing this, I want to help.
Good.
Good. I've been recruiting for the rebellion for a long time.
We destroyed our home. I fight the Empire now.
I fear nothing. All is as the Force wills it.
The captain says you are a friend. I will not kill you.
Thanks. There isn't much time. Every day they grow stronger.
There is a 97.6% chance of failure.
He means well.
This is our chance to make a real difference. Are you with me?
All the way.
Hi, everybody, and welcome once again to GeekFest Rants. My name is Carlos Perone, and joining me, I have James. Say hi, James.
Hello, hello.
Well, we kind of put together this last-minute show, which we kind of knew we were going to do it. We just weren't sure we were going to do it tonight. We stayed up late, later than I would normally want to stay up late, to catch the premiere of the Rogue One. I guess you can call it either trailer number 2 or trailer number 1 if the first one was considered to be a teaser trailer. So this was a little expanded, based on what we saw before. Now, as far as I can tell, from what I've heard and from what I've seen, this is probably the same thing they showed at Celebration Europe back in London a couple of weeks ago, which was that trailer that we talked about, that when we were trying to watch it from home, they cut to something else so that people on the actual auditorium got to see it, and we got a repeat of that sizzle reel that they kept showing us. And this time around, they premiered it, I guess, to the public while they were playing the Olympics.
Typical.
For us in the East Coast, they came around 10:30 at night. So I thought it was going to come at 8 or at 9, primetime kind of hours. But no, they made us wait and wait and wait, obviously, because they wanted us to watch the Olympics.
They want you to watch Michael Phelps win another gold medal, and then they wanted to lure you in to watch his semifinal. So
right. That was late at night.
I get the business decision. I just don't like it.
And what's also ironic that some people are mentioning on the internet is the fact that this is a Disney film, if you think about it, and Disney owns ABC. Yeah. And they did not premiere it at ABC. They went to NBC, I guess, because of the ratings, because of the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly. They know exactly where the people are tonight.
Right. But anyway, let's go as we did last time. Because this is a short trailer, it's only about a little over 2 minutes. Let's go basically shot by shot and see what's new in this trailer. We start off in the trailer with they give us this like a cliffside view of a city, which I guess it's the city where the lead character probably lives or gets captured.
It's got a Mos Eisley kind of look to it, but on a cliff, on the top of a mountain or a plateau.
Right. And we've seen, again, in the first teaser trailer, we saw these settings where it's kind of like not necessarily a desert, but a very rocky, dry kind of environments. And I guess that's what we're being told in the beginning of the trailer. And you have, I guess it's Urzo and Guerrera. Is it Guerrera or Guerra? I forget Whitaker's character's name, and they're kind of chatting with each other, and he's telling her about how, the Empire is all over the city, and it's like they're almost like an occupied territory now, because you do see TIE fighters floating around and these Imperial-looking ships landing and taking off, in the city. Which, it's nothing new. We kind of understand what we're dealing with here, and we understood it before, and when we talked earlier, I remember I said to you that there's really nothing shockingly new about this trailer in terms of plot twists or anything that we weren't expecting. The majority of this trailer, from what I gather, gives us more special effects, finished, completed, composited scenes, which is kind of cool. I mean, if you're into that sort of thing. So you do get that back and forth between them. You also get this really cool shot, and tell me if you know what I'm talking about, of what looks like to be a Star Destroyer kind of getting close to the top of a mountain, and the mountain also looks like it's like a fort or a stronghold or a castle or something, very Imperial looking. You know what I'm talking about?
I sure do, yeah.
And it looks damn good. I mean, it looks really good. You get that feeling of, like I said before, the occupation feeling. It's almost like remember when we were watching Battlestar Galactica and the whole occupation vibe of people living under the shadow of, I guess in this case, the Empire, so we do get that. There's a sequence in the trailer where it's an expanded version of, remember when we saw Yavin and them meeting in that, like a cave looking planning room, I guess, or mission room where you see the green fluorescent maps on the wall, and she's chatting with, which I guess is her handler, one of these lead characters, and you see Mon Mothma in the back.
Yeah, I guess he kind of seems like a rebel, maybe commander of some sort.
Right. I think he's kind of in charge of her. Like, he's her rebels representative with, like, keeping an eye on her, making sure she doesn't go off the off the reservation. So we get that. And again, there's nothing that's kind of pretty similar to the shots we've seen before, except it's additional dialogue. Obviously, is what you're talking about. So they talk about in the voiceover about that the Empire is about to have a test, of this new weapon. And they do kind of recycle some of those same shots that we've seen before of the light moving from dark to light, and the light reveals a Star Destroyer. And behind the Star Destroyer, it reveals the actual Death Star, and then you go a little wider and you get the dish array being inserted into the Death Star.
Yeah, we see that scene again.
It's pretty much the same scene. Now, the only thing I'm not entirely sure, and I think it probably means Episode 4, and that is that they're talking about a test. They're about to conduct a test. Now, I don't know if the test is what happens to Alderaan, or if these guys are going to perform some other minor test, that we'll see during this film. What do you think?
I don't think it's Alderaan, because I don't think that was that close. And they picked Alderaan, I think, because of Leia. So my guess is there's another test. They're going to do a test. But if you recall,
test.
Yes, but if you recall in Episode 4, Tarkin says, "Let's choose a target of your choosing. We'll blah blah blah." So it's coming. And they decide on the fly, they call an audible and say, "Oh, well, let's just use it on your home planet." And it's like, oh, no. Maybe they would have picked some other place that we're going to hear them talk about. Maybe there was the planet with the beach scene or something like that. Maybe they decide, because of that drama that ensues, it gets delayed to the point where, then we see it in Episode 4.
Right, and like we said before, in Episode 4, it's probably the public unveiling of this new weapon. And in this film, we might see minor tests on something smaller than a planet, or in an area that is completely uninhabited, so that nobody can witness it and tell people what it does. But obviously, these guys know, or even before, if you think about it, even before these guys know, they're going on a mission, which means somebody already knows that there is a new weapon being built that is pretty nasty, and their mission is to steal the plans in order to find, a malfunction or something they could exploit. So I don't think it's going to be like them discovering this bizarre thing that nobody even thought of. I think they kind of understand what the mission is. And again, I'm just speculating here. One of the nice big shots that we get is a shot of a new, what appears to be a rebel ship departing from what looks like the Yavin 4. And I believe it's called a U-wing.
Yeah,
I like an X-wing U-wing.
I wasn't sure how I was going to like that based on what we had seen in Lego form and things like that. But it turns out I like it a lot. It does have a good, a good.
Now, does it remind you? Does it remind you of any other ship that we like? Think about it.
I would say it. Well, now I'm going to have to. Now I'm looking at it. The Y-wing.
Give up. No. You know what it reminds me? And it's not exactly a photocopy of it, but it reminds me of Buck Rogers' ship.
Oh, yeah. Now,
it's got the little swings on the side and the white and the engines behind, the 4 engines behind it, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, now I know now I see what you're seeing.
And we saw the Lego one. I remember you sent me a picture of the Lego one.
Yeah, I'm looking at it as it's taking off on that shot.
Yeah, I have that same frame here in front of me.
And I do like it. I didn't think I was going to like it and I think what we don't see in this is the wings that are facing forward swoop backwards, kind of like.
They do? I didn't realize that.
Yes, I believe that's a feature in the Lego that I've seen. So I believe that's a possibility that once it gets up into its wherever, I don't know. You don't need wings in space, but the point is they have them in these movies, and I have a feeling that has more. It has more features than we're seeing in this little trailer scene here.
Yeah, and from the look of it, it looks like it could be a cousin of the X-wing. It's got the proper colors, the proper engines. The cockpit looks pretty similar, so it could be a model. That's what it's supposed to be, obviously. So it's no big surprise. Up next, we also get a little more banter between the 2 rebel leads, and they repeat and again another one of those shots of it's almost like a marketplace, and the stormtroopers are escorting what appears to be rebel prisoners. And then we get a shot of a ship that's flying into like some dark mountains, and then you get the guy that is one of these commando guys, the guy with the big gun, seems to be shooting down from a high mountainy kind of location into some stormtroopers way below, and it's raining. So you do get a lot of like water and stuff, obscuring the picture a little bit. So you're kind of meeting, this is the Magnificent Seven or the Dirty Dozen, you know what I mean? You're meeting some of those characters.
Yeah, that's still what I like about what this movie is about, that it has that, like we've talked about, what we liked about the newer Fast and Furious movies was it became more of a heist rather than just a car race. And then some of these other movies that we like, it's like Captain America 2 wound up being like a political thriller. It has a kind of theme to it. And the theme of this one is like a gang of misfits, coming together, and we've seen
they work together? Yeah,
we've seen that in the big Hollywood movies, like you said, the Dirty Dozen or Magnificent Seven. But you've also seen it in like the Battlestar Galactica original TV show that they cobble together a bunch of prisoners and bad guys and near duels, and we've seen it in other forms of more recent stuff on TV and movies. So it's something I like. It's an idea that I like, that like we can pick these complete pricks and put them together to save the universe. They become the greatest heroes that nobody ever knows.
Right. The trick is that you have to make these characters likable, and you have to sometimes make them funny. Because if you don't like them, if they're generic cookie cutter, they're going to get killed type of characters, you have to feel something for them. And I really hope they can do it. They look right. They have the right look. Let's see what they can do, when we actually see the story. Up next, you have another shot of, I believe it's that U-wing, but you see it from the rear, and it's kind of flying through some canyons, some Arizona-looking type of stuff.
I'm not sure where it's going.
Yeah. Now you have another, I don't know if it's a recycled shot or just a different angle of the stormtroopers, and some of them driving a tank type of vehicle, which we've seen before. And you also saw, because I think you sent me the Lego version of this.
It must be important because there's a Lego.
No kidding, right? And then, but they are being driven by, which I think we saw before, a different type of stormtrooper. I guess it's a tank driver type of stormtrooper, different helmets, slightly different armor they're wearing. And then, just like you got a couple of shots of that other guy, the guy with the big gun, now you get a couple of shots of what's like the blind martial artist, the guy with the staff who seems to be blind, and he's like walking and talking, and then he kind of engages a couple of stormtroopers and basically beats the crap out of them. Then we get a nice little shot of this new robot that we mentioned before that is apparently, from what I understand, it's an Imperial droid that they captured and they reprogrammed, and he has a different personality than C-3PO. He's more like a rude...
Yeah.
Like a rude, I don't want to say dumb, but he just doesn't care. Rude and doesn't care.
Maybe he's a little
that.
bit like Jarvis,
Yeah.
He's got that persnickety kind of, not where C-3PO is a little fluffy, and pansy. This guy is still tough because he's probably military, but turned into a good guy. And I like that. And we've seen that in Rebels recently.
Yes.
We've seen that in Rebels recently, how the Imperial droid that looks like the Death Star droid is able to be turned and be a support character for Chopper, much like C-3PO and R2 are.
Right. They're basically, with all these different aspects of the franchise, they're experimenting with different personalities. C-3PO is not the only personality out there. So they, like you said, Chopper is a different flavor of cranky droid, and this is another kind of cranky droid. And something tells me this might be the breakout character, just like BB-8, not just because it's a robot, but it's such a quirky, different type of character that I have a feeling this might be the one for this particular film. Now, up next, you get a really interesting shot that the more I think about it, the more it goes back to what we were talking about earlier. You see the Death Star hovering over a planet, mountainy, desertly type of planet, which is kind of reminiscent of what we've seen earlier. But what's really odd about this shot is that the radar dish is pointing down. It's almost like it's flying upside down, even though I know gravity and everything.
And I like that. And the Death Star, it's been alleged in artwork and stuff like that. If you recall, there was a composite picture that shows an X-Wing and the Darth Vader TIE fighter below the Death Star, which is in the old pictures, it probably was just, reversed or something like that to make it fit. And the cannon, the cannon is below. So in this, my impression is that it's alleging that it does not have to be like, it does not have to have the cannon on the top. The cannon can be on the bottom, the ray gun, whatever you want to call that.
But what that tells me is that these guys are ready to fire down on a planet instead of up into space.
Sure.
So
I have a feeling that it's the Death Star is not. We have not seen all its capabilities in all the movies and all the forms. So I'm actually pretty impressed with that. To see a different.
In Jedi, we got to see it just destroying ships. It doesn't have to use the power, to destroy an entire planet just to destroy a ship. But I wouldn't be surprised if this thing starts firing down on buildings or cities or something like that. That wouldn't be surprised me one bit. All right, the next shot is another super fast shot that you really have to look at carefully, because there is a shot, I guess, of the opposite end of that, and that is from the planet looking up. Looks like an eclipse is taking place, and I bet you it's the Death Star. The Death Star is hovering in the middle of the sun.
That's done on purpose.
Right. That's a pretty cool effect. We are then followed by a couple of shots of director, was it Krennic? I think his name was something like that. Him walking, amongst his troops, and him looking,
he looks like a bit of a. I mean, he does definitely look like a bit of a badass, and
a Peter Cushing type of
a real ball buster kind of guy that his own men are afraid when he enters. And obviously the enemy is very intimidated in most cases too, because this guy means business. He's he's the hanging judge. If you get caught, he's going to make an example of you or your group or your planet. So he definitely looks like he means business.
Mm-hmm. Now, up next, we get a shot of what to me, again, looks like that U-wing fighter.
This is now the troop deployment. This
is
like
troops coming off the ship, which
the D-Day attack or something.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that by having so many troops coming off of the ship must be bigger than I thought. I thought it was like an X-Wing-y type of a one-man ship, but no, this seems to have enough room underneath to deploy, I don't know, maybe a dozen troops or something.
Yeah, I think this is, I don't think it's cozy inside. I think we do see the inside in a later shot that we haven't gotten to yet, as what we're talking about. You see like about 5 or 6 or 7 of the guys inside so my impression is that it's tight, but it's like a drop ship in a way, like in Aliens, the drop ship, or a helicopter. Those or the helicopters that everybody had to jump out in in Nam and more like the. So I think it's definitely a war footing we're on here. These are these are showing the Star Wars universe and the ships for what they're meant to do, not just as background pieces.
Right, and this is definitely from the other trailer. This is the beach landing, because you do see the palm trees in the back. You see the sand, and I don't know if it's the beginning of that particular attack or if they're the reinforcements coming to help. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a composite of the landing, but then you see, I think, some random shots of other parts of the movie popped in.
Right,
real quick.
you do see explosions happening and stormtroopers being blown to bits and that sort of thing, and you do see them again, running on the beach. The guy with the big gun and these all black, I don't know if they're called them Shadow or Secret or something, stormtroopers. They're the all black stormtroopers. They recycle once again that shot of it's like an Imperial base that has wings, and I guess it can land and act like a building, with the wings come down or something like that. So that you see that blowing up again, which again, it brings you back to the first trailer. You do get a little bit of a little funny moment, little comments here or there. Then you get another cool shot that is something we haven't seen yet that I love seeing. One of the best things I like about Star Wars is seeing the technology interacting with the environment. And by that, I mean the different weather situations. Here you see an X-Wing flying through the rain at night.
Yes. And we kind of you get to see that. I guess you get to kind of see that in Dagobah, but, it really is all happening so fast that,
And in Camino, it was rain, but it wasn't this is an attack. This is an X-Wing attacking an Imperial base.
You see the light, like most people don't even realize planes have headlights on the wings.
Yes.
And in this shot, you see that as they're going through these canyons, and there's going at that speed and stuff like that, I have a feeling that by the time the light hits what's in front of you, you're hitting it a couple seconds later.
It looks really cool because the rain gives it a special look to it. It's not just a direct...
glow.
I mean, obviously, the rain always helps you hide flaws and that sort of thing, since most of this, I imagine, is CGI. Anything that flies
like
is probably
Blade Runner,
CGI.
it makes it look a little more realistic.
But it gives us this cool little aura with the smoke and the rain and that sort of thing. Now, that is followed by what...
A pretty awesome shot.
I want to call it the pre-money shot. The pre-money shot is, again, the guy with the big gun. He's holding like a bazooka-looking thing, and he's aiming it upwards. And then you get a shot of whatever he's deploying going up, and it's hitting like the head of an AT-AT.
And it hits, and it's like, and we know these are mechanical, and they are manipulated inside like a machine, like a car, like a tank, but it responds like you just swatted the side of something, like you just slapped somebody's head.
Like you slapped his face, and he's like, oh.
And it actually, it's amazing. Like, I wonder what it would feel like in, I mean, here we are dissecting it seconds after we've watched it. So, but I wonder what it feels like inside, because we've seen the inside of these things, but it doesn't seem like it has like too much movement. This looks like the way the head moves after being hit. There's an explosion, so you got to figure that's jarring, and then it moves in a herky-jerky way really quickly.
But it's almost like an animal. It's like an animal being hit in the face, and the animal is like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the crew inside must really be like, like whiplash. And
I wonder if they'll show you the reaction shot of the crew inside. Yeah, that'd be cool.
The commander,
General Veers.
General Veers inside didn't look like he was strapped in at all. So if there's a General Veers inside this thing, he's getting whipped around or thrown back or something. So he better
be wearing his helmet.
Yeah, this is serious business.
Now, the next shot is something that, again, could go back to the earlier theory we were talking about, and that is you see a very small ship, which could be the U-Wing again, flying through what looks like a gigantic rock debris, like a mountain exploded and it's raining on the ship, which leads me to believe maybe this is part of the test. The Death Star shoots and tries to destroy the ship, let's say, and instead blows up a mountain that's flying by. That's just a theory. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Oh, you're right. That is very interesting that it could be. The
planet looks like the right planet. It was a rocky planet, very, very orangey, yellowish.
And the next scene you see is them hauling ass out of there
as stuff's flying around.
So maybe you're right. Maybe that was the test.
And they jump into hyperspace. You see them actually, you see the stars, turn into the hyperspace thing. Then you get a shot of what looks like to be, it's very quick, a TIE fighter spinning out of control, crashing into an Imperial.
Something tells me that's a composite. Like the shot that we see of the TIE fighter crashing into a window or cockpit of some other vehicle.
Yes.
I have a feeling that is not the same ship that is followed in the next scene with it looking like Imperial gunners or Death Squad commanders or whatever we're calling them.
Yeah, and it looks like it's night.
Around.
It looks like it's a night shot.
Yeah, I think those are two different scenes that are made to seem like it's one.
Or, you know what it might be? The other scene that we saw the X-Wings shooting down on the Imperial thing at night with the rain.
Yeah.
It could be some TIE fighters being hit and then crashing into the Imperial bases.
Yeah, I think it's just to make it look really cool, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess when all's said and done.
Yeah, you can't connect. You cannot connect these scenes in order.
You can't do that. They're different. They're not linear. But the next scene is pretty freaking cool, and we know where that is. We know where that is because we know what they're attacking.
Well, you have your lead character there, and she's walking in what looks like to be some kind of aerial platform.
Well,
and
it's the platform on that beach planet, the beachhead where they're attacking. It's that platform in the background.
And she's walking right to the edge of it, and all of a sudden a TIE fighter appears, and it doesn't look like what's going to happen. Is this a friendly or is it unfriendly? Is it going to shoot at her? Is she going to jump in and pretend to be a pilot or something? You know,
and
it could
she's
be.
staggering very slightly, like she's seen some battle and it's a struggle together. So again, I'm not sure if it's the typical, it's the bad guy, and then the hatch opens and it's Chewbacca. Well, obviously this isn't Chewbacca, but perhaps the hatch opens and it's
right.
Forrest Whitaker or somebody.
Yeah. Do they want to make you feel like, our hero has had it, and then no, she's not. She's okay.
Yeah. I mean,
one of those moments.
I'm pretty darn sure this isn't the climax, so she's probably going to make it a few more scenes. But hey, you never know if it is the climax and it's a gun battle right here.
You never know. Usually, it's with a climax, it's usually that lead by themselves, usually going against a baddie. You know, you never know. Then you get a shot of what looks like to be all of the rebel, the majority of them.
This is the shot I was talking about inside the U-wing. I think this is what the inside of the U-wing is.
Yeah, because you see the door opening in the background, the lowering of the gates type of door in the back.
It looks like there's 10 or 12 people in there. It's made for this sort of, it looks like this is the beginning of that mission, and everybody's together, and this is like, all right, we can do this type of thing. And then you get the theme, you get the logo.
Then you get the logo, and then you get the money shot, which is a rear view from the chest up of Vader, and he's looking at a black screen with the red outline of the Death Star, which looks like to be either remember the trajectory of how things would explode, or the orbit or something like that.
Yeah, it's like showing it, like what we saw, how it clears Yavin, and then eventually I think that's more of like, a targeting type thing or geographical positioning or something like that,
and it's very basic. It's very basic looking because I believe they're trying to match Star Wars's basic graphic design, which back then was animation, because I don't even think they could do it graphically. Some of it was done graphically, but some of it had to turn into animation because they wasn't really ready for that sort of thing. So it's a good match, and the color, I like that red color. It's a very nice red color.
Powerful. It's very Jedi-ish.
It screams Jedi-ish. It screams Sith. It screams Emperor, royalty, that sort of thing.
And there it is. That's the real Darth Vader. He's making an appearance. There's no question now. They're not. How much he could be in there for 1 minute, and this could be it. But it's enough to show he exists, and it's not just this movie isn't just in its own little vacuum. It's part of what's yet to come. It would be in their best interest not to overblow a lot of Vader stuff. Let the other characters stand for themselves and fight the other new enemies. But him being there, it's like, yeah, okay, he means business, and we know what's to come, and how pissed he is when he arrives at the Tantive 4.
Right. I mean, for all we know, he could be in the last, like Force Awakens. He could be in the last 10 minutes of the film, kind of like, all right, Vader, they screwed up again. Get out there and go find me those damn plans. They're heading in that direction, that kind of thing. I don't think we're going to see him throughout the whole movie,
But what I was trying to say was, when the doors blast into the Tantive 4, the troops come in, he comes marching in, and he is pissed. The first time we see him sets the tone for the Vader that we want. The tear the ship apart. I don't care if you have to tear everybody. Yeah. If you have to go through their underwear drawers, you're going to find these plans. I mean, I'm being silly, but he is pissed, and that is the Vader everybody wants.
Yeah,
not the whiny. Not the whiny.
Kill the crew. Tell them they were hurt, and whatever. They were destroyed by an asteroid or something. Whatever. I don't care.
You don't want the whiny, sympathetic Vader at the end of Jedi. You don't want the
no.
You don't want the loser Vader at the end of Revenge Revenge of the Sith. You want the Vader that comes in, kicks the door down, and doesn't take any names. And
now, have you noticed? It's a very brief shot. It's almost a static shot. It's so brief. But one thing I noticed, and maybe I'm just putting too much into the shot. I noticed his helmet is very dull. It was not very shiny. Because in the movies, it got shinier as the movies progressed. In the first film, it was super dull.
I'm going to say here's why. It was super dull, and you could say because he had seen some heavy action at that point. I mean, the real reason is it's probably so the lights and the sets didn't reflect on everything.
Exactly.
And they said, all right, we'll make it duller. It looks like he's probably seen some battle, blah, 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 so on and so forth.
Just spray him with that dulling spray.
And yeah, exactly right. That's what I'm saying. But by Empire and Jedi, now this is the king bad boy. He's shine him up, buff that helmet. He's coming into town and everybody bow. And they were able to also figure it out because now the budgets were bigger and we had more time and we had more understanding of what we needed from the character. So the lights could be adjusted slightly and he could still have his gentle glowing shine. But yeah, this is supposed to be more a New Hope Vader. Uniform, I heard, was mimicked in terms of the way the chest plate and everything, because apparently all that changed slightly and the amount of capes. He had like a waist cape as well as a shoulder cape and the different pauldrons and stuff. So I think this is going to be a copy of what we originally see.
Exactly. And as far as the music goes, I didn't really notice anything special about it. I like the music in the first one. It was more memorable. That alarm going off was such a cool sound effect that it made the trailer for me almost. This time around, I didn't really notice the music much. It didn't do much for me. And like I mentioned earlier, there is no progression. In other words, you're basically shown the same, but different angles, different views, more special effects, but there is no new scenes that were like, oh my God, I never imagined they would do such a thing. No, it seems to be going exactly in the same style as the previous one, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm okay with that. I actually am tired of seeing every scene. Like we talked about the last Star Trek movie.
Yeah, save us something,
Yeah, how they kind of gave away who Idris Elba was in the teaser that came out 3 days before the movie was. Whoa, that's a pretty big deal. Maybe you should save that, or either. And in this case, I think they're holding back now. As it gets closer, I have a feeling. I have a feeling we're going to see everything.
Right. We were just talking about Vader. I don't think we know exactly yet who's playing Vader.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not Hayden Christensen, and I'm guaranteeing
it's not David Prowse.
It's not Dave Prowse, although Dave Prowse was lobbying. Literally, I've seen shots of him lobbying that I think I could do it, and I think I could still bring it. And it's like I don't even know if he can sit up properly at this point because he's got some city miles on him. And rightly so. He's 80 years old. He's allowed to be. He's allowed to have aged, but in his heart, in his mind,
plus it's going to be. It's going to be a minimal role, so it's probably going to be I imagine it's going to be a stunt person or something like that. So I don't think he's going to be doing any backflips or anything. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and I really was hoping they could find a way to get Hayden in there to give. I mean, everybody doesn't hate the prequels, okay? And he did do his job, and he did as good of a job that he was directed in,
You never know. There might be some surprises along the way. Obviously, you're not going to see his face, but it might turn out that all of a sudden the credits, you see his name pop up there. He's like, oh, that's cool.
We were going to see it, but now apparently Bail Organa in the Jimmy Smits in the form of Bail Organa.
Right, that's been confirmed, and we were theorizing about that last time, and he doesn't appear in this one.
In the sizzle reel, you see it, but now in this particular movie, I did not see him anywhere. No. The angle didn't. It's in that scene where they're all getting together on Yavin. But on the other hand, I didn't see any hint that he was there. But that's a nice little tip to prequel fan. That's Disney. Yeah. That's Disney again saying, yeah, the prequels exist in our world. We're not disavowing them. Right. We just know you don't love them as much as the
and that's something
series.
That I mentioned before, as you guys probably know, because you're aware that now I've been living in Florida for a little over a year now, and I visit the parks, the Disney parks, especially the Disney Studios, and I all the Star Wars stuff that's coming up, there's a ton of stuff being built, but there's stuff that's there already. And in it, especially the films that they show you, these little films, they definitely put an emphasis on giving you prequel material. I was afraid that they might try to hide away all the prequel stuff, but no. They're very respectful of what's happened in the past because it's good for them and they can mine that information.
And also the fact that hey, in the Clone Wars, there's a character from the Clone Wars in this movie, and and in Rebels, they've included characters that appeared in the prequels and the Clone Wars. So nobody is trying to diminish the prequels, even though fans are still unhappy with them. I understand it. But Disney is not the ones doing it. They just, they're going to focus on the newer stuff.
And I'm sure there's probably a ton of stuff that they're trying to keep under wraps as much as possible, so they don't want it to leak out. Nothing major probably, but little like Easter eggs, that sort of stuff that we love to see afterwards and analyze.
Yes, I agree.
So overall, I'm pretty happy with, this official new trailer for it. I'm sure we're going to get at least one more, I imagine.
I think you're right. I think it's going to be closer to
October, November.
There'll be an international version or something that has one or two extra scenes.
I think you have New York Comic Con coming up, so that's usually around the time where they try to push another big one out.
Yep.
And I'm glad they finally gave us this one, because we were I was so upset, because I remember there were rumors, and not official from StarWars.com, but all these other websites were saying, oh, during a celebration, everybody's going to get to see this trailer. Great. And then, oh man, we didn't get to see it. And tonight I was to the point I was texting you, and I'm like, I don't know if this thing's ever going to come, because it was 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10
there's
o'clock.
Probably a handful of people that were like, geez, I got to fall asleep. I got to get to work. I can't stay up.
Well, that's the thing. I kept telling my son, I'm like, I'm going to bed at 10. I don't care if there's the Phelps or Star Wars. I'm going to bed. I don't care.
And then
I was like, okay, I'll wait.
I'm glad you toughed it out.
And then when Seacrest came out, it's like, ooh, what's Seacrest doing? Oh, now we're going to introduce you a trailer for real. All right, good boy, Seacrest. Now go back. Go. I'll see you New Year's Eve now. But anyway, I want to thank James, as usual, for joining me and for helping me out and, giving us, you guys, a little feedback on what we saw. And, this is our bread and butter. This is the stuff that makes us completely turns us into 12-year-olds again.
It makes us feel like kids. Exactly. And this is, think about it. In the 40 years that Star Wars has existed, let's leave out A New Hope, which was the original Star Wars, in terms of that trailer, because most of us didn't see that trailer. We saw it we heard about it and we went to see it in the movies.
Oh, no.
There's only been, this is counting this one. There's only been 7 trailers. There's only, 7 times that we've been able to feel that way in our lives, and I'm 47, almost 48. And so it's still a rarity to be able to get a new Star Wars teaser trailer or scenes hint before we actually see it. So I'm pretty happy. And
just like you, I'm just excited about, and I know it's a money grab in terms of the merchandising arm, but certain figures come out and I'm all excited about it. I know that robot, they're putting it out as a 6-inch, black line, but I'm going to wait for the 3 3/4. I'm already kind of eyeing all right, I want this one. I don't want that one. I want this one. And I need the book of the cross sections, and I need the visual dictionary, and I need the blah, blah, blah. And I need this, and I need the novel and the prequel and the comic. And it's like, again, I'm a 12-year-old again, all over again, every couple of years. Well, at this rate, every year now, I think, because they're going to give us one every year. And the other thing I want to mention is that one of the last things that seems to be circulating out there is that somebody was mentioning that for the Han Solo movie, they want to turn that into a trilogy. I don't know how official that is.
That young Lando, there'll be a young Lando.
There's going to be a young Lando. I still have my fingers crossed that somehow they're going to work old Lando into episode 9 or 8. You have got to put him in there. I'm still a little pissed off that they weren't able to put Kenny Baker in there. I don't care if you put him as a background character. I don't care if you bury him in makeup. It would have been nice to have him physically there because he's part of the team. And the same thing with Lando. Even though the guy doesn't have it all up there as much as he used to, he might not be that good on camera anymore. They have to figure out a way of getting him in there because he's part of the gang.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress.
We have a lot of Star Wars ahead of us.
And that doesn't even count the Lego stuff. Oh my God, wait till the Lego stuff. Wait till that Lego avalanche starts. But anyway, once again, I'd like to thank James for joining me, and obviously you guys for always listening. And we will see you here soon at GeekFest Rants. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
The Imperial Senate will not sit still for this. When they hear you've attacked a diplomatic...
Don't act so surprised, Your Highness. You weren't on any mercy mission this time. Several transmissions were beamed to the ship by rebel spies. I want to know what happened to the plans they sent you.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a member of the Imperial Senate on a diplomatic mission to Alderaan.
You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away!
If you have to go through their underwear drawers, you're going to find these plans.
No!